I was going to ask you, so do you feel like you personally and your site can have a real genuine influence in the coming years,
I hope
the
so.
crop?
Yeah, I really hope so. I mean, I don't know. I won't say that we have already. I mean, we might have done to an extent. I mean, I used to invest 25,000 pretty much every single month on backing 13 different people who were largely playing the GUKPT main event and 2 or 3 side events at every GUKPT. Now, GUKPT is in its 4th year. I'm now doing that through Black Belt, and we have a team of blue belts who are playing $1,500 worth of tournaments every month. If we stopped doing all of that, the GUKPT would be a lot smaller. A lot of the side events would have 15 people less in them or 12 people less. And these are making the events better. And I think, more and more people are wanting to come and play in those events. And when I go, I've been playing a couple of these UK IPTs in the last year, and I think they're excellent, really well organised by PokerStars. I think 500 quid seems to be the buy-in that everyone wants to go for. You see a lot of young internet pros there, and they're all talking poker and hanging out together, and they all stay in the same hotel because they've won their packages with Stars and whatever. And it's got to be good. They're all improving together. Yeah, I think this is just the start for the UK. I think. We had 6 bracelets this year, and it was the most by a country outside of the US in 1 year. I don't think there's any reason why we couldn't do more than that in the future. I don't think it was a full storm.
And what do you make of this new online generation, not just over here but worldwide?
Oh, I'm definitely one. A lot of old dinosaurs like me turn around and say, "Oh God, these young kids, they think they're so clever." They've all played 20 billion hands by the time they're 22. What do they know? I've been down in the trenches in Walsall playing for 20 years or whatever. It's bullshit. These kids are brilliant. They're training videos is one of the best ways to learn poker, and these people are eating and drinking that stuff. They're reading some really good stuff. Things like poker books when I was young, they didn't exist. I remember buying Super System, which cost I think 50 quid and made your suitcase twice as heavy. And you could buy it in the Gambler's Bookstore in Vegas. I would go to Vegas every year. I first went in '92, and the first World Series I attended was '97. I didn't play a tournament until 2001. So although I'm pretty old school, actually I haven't really been around poker that long. I mean, I never played more than 25 tournaments a year until 2005. But I do remember those early days when I used to play poker for a hobby, and I'd play twice a week a tournament. I was a voracious reader of anything you could read, but I used to have to go over to the Gambler's Bookstore in Vegas and bring books back, and I'd read them during the year, and I'd go a couple of times a year and I'd pick up more books and stuff. But now, like poker books, that's so old hat. We've got training videos, you've got sites where you can discuss hands all the time with other really good pros. People just generally, social networking sites, Facebook, Twitter, people are linking up a lot more, and they're sharing the information. When I started playing poker, just finding another person that was under the age of 30 to talk about poker with was pretty hard to do. I had a good mate in Keith the Camel Hawkins. Well, I still do have a good mate in Keith the Camel Hawkins, but he was a good guy. We went to school together and we started playing poker together. He's a professional poker player, and we started talking about poker. We would go home from the casino at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and he would sit in my car when I dropped him outside his house, and we'd be talking about the hands we'd played in the tournament for 2 hours before I drove home. I remember, like, the police would sort of sometimes be driving past his house, and they would think we were casing the joint or something, sitting there at 4 in the morning just having a good old gas. But yeah, we used to do that, but there wasn't many people doing that, and now that's just happening all the time. So yeah, that young generation, they must be better. And the internet game's different. The live games that I play in the Vic, there's a lot more limping, a lot more calling of raises in position, a lot less 3-betting. And the internet style has started to permeate into the game. People just never used to 4-bet. The people's 4-bet range was queens and upwards for many, many years, and now people 4-bet quite often with total airballs. And that's obviously changed the game, and probably for the good. It makes it a more interesting game. I have utmost respect for the internet generation.
And have you changed your game accordingly to try and keep up with them?
I have to, yeah. I mean, in the live game, I've definitely had the whole game has changed in the live game. There's one Norwegian boy that comes into the Vic and has done for about 3 years now, who's one of the best players I've ever seen. There's also Thomas Bichon from Corsica, who's a PokerStars pro. He's playing in the Vic for 18 months, pretty much every single day, living in a hotel for like a 200 quid a night or something. Kept thinking he was going to move and just carried on living in a hotel, but he was playing every single day, and he's an excellent player, and I definitely learned a lot from him. And he was, you have to adapt. And what I love that refreshes, I find very refreshing is there's two old guys. I say old guys. They might be thinking that's horrible of me to say that. Well, one of them's over 70. I think I'm entitled to call him old. Fred Carl and a guy called Jeff Duval, who you might know of, who has had some tournament success in the UK. Fred never plays tournaments, just plays cash games, only in the Vic, never travels to play anywhere else. And they're both, slightly older generation. Jeff's quite a bit younger than Fred. I find it an inspiration to watch how they've adapted to the games. And they're both quite a bit older than me, so if they can do it, I should be able to do it. And I hang around with these guys that I've mentioned before, a lot of these young kids, and I try and learn from them if I can. But yeah, I don't think if I wasn't developing my game and evolving my game, there's no way I could survive in this place, as the games are hard. And as for online, I do play. I play on Black Belt, obviously. I do quite a bit of stuff like playing in small league matches where I'm playing as Neil Channing, so people can see it's me quite easily. We have a $5 league every Tuesday, and I'll turn up and play in that and chat to everybody. And we have a 50-cent rebuy tournament once a week that I always play in if I can. And I was doing a kind of cash challenge thing where I started playing quite small, and I got as high as playing 2-4 no limit. But I kind of, ran out of time and gave up on it. But as well as that, I'm playing some 25-50 six max on the site, which is kind of a punchy game, and it's a pretty exciting game where there's a lot of money changing hands. So I have to adapt to the different styles and the different games. I'm also quite regular in the tournaments on the site, so yeah, I'm playing quite a bit more online poker than I used to.
And as a sort of slightly older than some and more experienced player, do you see yourself in any way as an ambassador for British poker?
Somebody said, I was reading some magazine article the other day, and somebody called me the original patriarch, which made me feel like I was about 100. I don't know. I'm proud of people saying that I'm an ambassador. I try to conduct myself in a professional way. If I get knocked out, I'm desperately always careful, and I'm not perfect. I slip occasionally, but I would generally try not to berate my opponent, particularly if they're an amateur. I try not to be a bad loser. I don't always carry out that one, but I try not to moan about bad beats. I don't always succeed on that one, but generally speaking, I try not to do all those bad things, and I think that kind of makes you. I think we can all learn from people like Chuffedy, who's just sort of joined us at Black Belt. Richard Ashby. One of the reasons that we liked him so much and we wanted him on board is because I think he's a bit of an ambassador. I think he's someone that you can really aspire to. He conducts himself very professionally. He's played poker at the highest level, the nosebleed stakes. Another one that I really have a lot of time for is Julian Thew. I think he's just like a perfect gentleman. He's totally calm and rational. I think Praz Banzi is another good example. So if I could be anything like any of those guys, I think I'd be happy enough. And I'm pretty proud if people say I'm an ambassador. That's pretty sweet, I guess.
And speaking about Black Belt, how does your mentoring system work with the players?
We have we have a system whereby basically if you play on the site, you get points, you get belt points. And generally speaking, the best way to get belt points is to play. You get play points. So the more you play on the site, the more points you get, and then you advance up the belts. If you get as high as orange belt, which isn't really very hard to do, you only have to rake about $100. So most people playing 1, 2, 4 tables could do it in about 3 hours. If you can get as high as orange belt, we give you a mentor. So we match you up to one of our pros, and you can be in touch with them and ask him questions about poker. If you get to purple, we give you a free training session. Free. You get like a group training session with one of our mentors, and you get free membership of Deuces Cracked, which we like very much. We're in partnership with them. I think it's a great training site. And you get hold of Manager, and we teach you how to use it. So we're trying to develop our players as they go on. Orange and Purple are pretty easy to attain. Green Belt is a bit harder. You'd have to be more of a sort of semi-pro player to get that far. Once you get Green Belt, we'll give you a little bit of online sponsorship and some live sponsorship, and we'll give you one-to-one mentoring with a pro, where they do Skype. Basically, they're using TeamViewer software and Skype, so they can see your screen exactly as you're seeing it, and you can talk through what you're doing and why you're doing it, and they can tell you whether they think that's a good thing or not. We're using it as a training tool. It's not. Some people have sort of said to me about collusion and cheating in online poker. This is very much a training thing. We're not looking to scam anybody or anything. But as people go up through the belts, then if they get as high as blue belt, which most pro players could easily get there. Anybody that's playing regularly 2, 4, 6 max, if they 4 table, they could get to blue belt in 5 or 6 weeks quite easily. Then we start sponsoring them, and they get $1,500 a month to play tournaments. And if they get as high as black belt, they get $10,000 a month. And the guys that are blue and brown and black, which are the 3 tiers at which they're sponsored, they provide the training and the mentoring for the lower belts, and they get paid accordingly to do that in points. So they get more belt points for doing that, which keeps their status. So it's like a community where some people are providers and some people are suppliers, and the people at the higher levels, they're supplying the training and education and mentoring, but they're receiving backing in exchange for that. So hopefully it kind of all works out. It's kind of complicated, but I don't think it's too difficult for a bright fella to understand.
And finally, looking into the future, could you ever see a time where you would concentrate solely on black belt at the expense of playing?
That time feels like it's come already. I was late arriving to see you guys today because basically I was in a meeting to do with black belt, and I seem to forever be in a meeting or a phone call to do with black belt. We do have staff. I'm not the world's best delegator. We appointed Warren Waldridge to be our CEO, who's an old friend of mine I play poker with a lot. So since we've done that, I try to step away from the day-to-day decisions, and I tend to get involved more in the kind of bigger picture things of direction of the company and that kind of thing. But I love it. I love it. We have an office. It's not far from my house. I go in and see the guys, and there's a little team of people sitting about doing stuff. They're all love their poker. They're all very enthusiastic about it. It's funny because I guess when we started, they were all kind of like, oh, this is Neil Channing, the big TV poker guy. And now I'm just like the guy in the office that they take the piss out of. And when I say things like, oh, we could do this promotion where somebody could win a chance to play me, they're like, oh, whoopie-doo, they can get to play with you. And I remember what they were like before. When we first got there, they were nervous about meeting me, and now they're like, so I don't know, it's fun, I enjoy it. We have a nice team, and online poker, business generally is it's tough. We're in recessionary times. Online poker is probably not doing as brilliantly as it was doing a couple of years ago. It's a transitionary period. There's lots of stuff going on in terms of legislation. Things in America obviously are up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen. All of that makes it more exciting. We're growing. A lot of other poker businesses are not growing, so I'm proud of that fact. Hopefully, you never know, fingers crossed, I might even get my money back on it one day.
That's great. Thank you very much.
No worries.